This is the Chester County Real Estate Podcast, bringing you the info you need to make your next move a great one.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Chester County Real Estate Podcast. This is the show that gives you the information you need to make your next move a great one. I'm your host, Sean Dominski, and today I'm sitting down with Alison Tulio from Incenter Tax Solutions, and we're going to talk a little bit about tax assessments and, whether or not people are paying too much in their taxes. So, Alison,
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, before we get into specifically the tax assessments, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the company?
Sure. As Sean said, I'm Alison Tulio. I'm president of Incenter Tax Solutions. We specialize in property tax appeals nationwide. We can review any residential or commercial property anywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Every review is free, and our job is to help people determine whether or not they're overpaying in property taxes, and if they are, we help them go through the whole appeal process and lower their taxes.
Okay, so this is specifically for homeowners.
Correct.
Now, do you work with homeowners and investors?
We work with anyone that owns a property, so it can be a homeowner, a commercial property owner, investors. We work with realtors like yourself, lenders, title agents.
Okay, great. And we were talking a little bit before about kind of the how taxes can vary so much from, what would you say, state to state, county from county, municipality to municipality, kind of all the above? Is it?
So in Pennsylvania, it varies, I would say, county by county. What the assessed market value is really comprised of is your assessment times a common level ratio.
Yeah, so that's what we were kind of talking about, because I was asking what are the taxes based off of? Because you would think that every time you buy the house or the house transfers, then there's a new value for the house, and the assessment should change based off of what was paid for it. Is that the case? Or
So no, in Pennsylvania, the way they determine the assessed market value is they take the assessment, which stays the same every year unless they do a countywide reassessment, and then you times that by the CLR for that county.
the common level ratio?
The common level ratio. Now, what they do is change the CLR every year on July 1st to adjust that formula to the market.
Yeah. Now, I was asking you before, why don't they just make this, why don't they just assess it at the price of the house? But this is so they can adjust for the market changes.
Correct.
Without having to go through and do what you said, a countywide assessment.
Right.
And what does that look like? How often do they do that?
So that's every July 1st, the CLR will change.
Right, but you said, what's a countywide reassessment?
So that would be, for instance, in Philadelphia County, they just did one last year where they reassess, they give everyone a new assessment, every property owner.
Wow.
Obviously, it takes a lot of resources, a lot of time, so they don't do it very often.
Are they under a mandate to do that? Do they have to, like a census, or is it just at the point where they think that things have just changed so much they can't?
I'm not really sure how they determine when they're going to do it or how often they do it. It isn't very often. I know in Philly last year, taxes went up almost 39%. So a lot of people are overassessed. So we're there to, again, look at each property individually, because they're not doing that. They're just doing that blanket reassessment and determine whether or not they're overpaying.
Okay. So when's I guess the first thing is, how do you know if you're overpaying, if you need to be reassessed? When's a good time to kind of check into that?
So in Pennsylvania, most of the deadlines are August 1st. Philadelphia is the first Monday in October. Okay. We tell people to contact us at any time, whether or not it's January or July. We'll make that determination before the deadline and let them know whether or not they're overassessed.
Is this something that is good to do? Should a homeowner do this frequently, once a year or once every couple years, or how often should they?
Well, remember I said the CLR changes every year.
Right.
So the numbers change every year, the market changes every year. So we advise people to do it every year, have that check every year. And Sean, the good thing about our company is once we have a property in our system, we'll review it for that property owner every year. They don't have to call us, they don't have to reach out. We'll make sure we're giving them that annual checkup. And I've had clients that have appealed 2-3 years in a row, just chipping away at their property taxes.
Okay.
So it's a really good opportunity for people to engage with us and just know that we're monitoring for them every year.
So what what are you guys actually doing? Are you lawyers, accountants, or what?
That's a good
what
question.
Is it?
So I'm a lawyer. I'm a real estate attorney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I've been doing property tax appeals for almost 20 years. I used to have my own local company in PA and New Jersey, and now I'm with Incenter Tax Solutions, and we are nationwide. My team is comprised of certified appraisers. They're the ones reviewing the properties in every local real estate market across the country. Because appraisers are really the ones that are experienced in determining what the actual market value is.
Okay. As opposed to doing like a realtor, CMA, or broker price opinion.
Yeah, we do a deeper dive than that, much deeper.
What? And I kind of had this question previously too when we talked before. What would the process look like for someone who wanted to do it on their own, who wasn't wasn't contacting a company like yours? Because I've heard of people getting their taxes reassessed. That is something that I've every now and then. I remember back in 2008, 2009, when the market really took a dive, a lot of people were going out there and checking their taxes and seeing if they could get them lowered. But what's that process look like without you guys?
So 2008, 2009, that's when I started my local company. Was a great time.
Yeah.
I hesitate to tell people to do it on their own. In fact, I advise not to. There's a lot of reasons. If you're doing it wrong, you open yourself up to an increase.
Yeah.
I have several clients that regret doing it on their own because their taxes went up. They're going in with the wrong information. They're not going in with the required information. And that could be a big mistake. The other reason is we're experts. We're going to maximize your savings. You have one bite at the apple.
Yeah.
You want people that are going to get the most bang for your buck, and that's what we do. Because remember, you're realizing that savings year after year after year after year. So it really is worth it to hire an attorney and an appraiser to go in and present the case to the board.
So when you're presenting the case to the board, so they're going to look at the appraisal.
Oh, absolutely.
Are they going to, like, let's just say, I know my neighborhood. I know the last home that sold. I know about what it's worth, and it's a lot. You know, I can kind of figure it out. Do they just do they take, if someone could just pull off the last sold homes in the neighborhood, like will the board look at that too, or do they do their own appraisal at some point? Or
well, remember, when you're going before the board, the assessor's usually there.
Yeah.
So he knows exactly what's going on in that market, in that neighborhood. It's one thing to pull up a comp and have a number, but a full appraisal is 6 comps. You can't just go in with 1 or 2 comps, and they make adjustments for the property versus the subject property. So an appraisal is a much more deeper dive than just grabbing a sale from your neighborhood.
Right.
And again, that's going to maximize your savings.
Now, I know you can't say too much to this, but have you noticed that there's a difference between appraised value, sale value, refi appraisals, like different stuff like that? Or has in your experience, the appraisal's been pretty accurate? Because some people say that when you get an appraisal to sell your house, it's different than when you get a refinance or when you get a tax assessment or something like that. Is that something that people have to worry about or be concerned about, having those different?
So a bank appraisal is different than a property tax appeal appraisal.
Yeah.
This is a GPAR appraisal. It's completely different. We're looking at comps within that municipality, where I believe the bank appraisals can go out of that municipality. I can't really speak to that. I know I cannot walk in there with a bank appraisal. It has to be a GPAR appraisal.
No, what's that? What do you mean by that? What's
It's
a GPAR?
just a different type of appraisal.
Is that like an organization, GPAR?
No, it's just a different form.
Okay.
It's a different format, different things they require in that appraisal. And that's why I have a vetted team that I work with in Pennsylvania that has gone with me before the board. They know how to do these appraisals. And usually, you know, you would think the bank and our appraisal, they should be similar because we're both looking for market value. But they're different formats.
Now, what happens, and here's the key question. So you said that if someone does this on their own, they could end up actually paying more money.
Correct.
Because they didn't have that information ahead of time. When someone's working with you, at what point do they know whether or not they're going to lose money? And is there like a cost of doing business before finding that out?
Okay, so if they work with us, they're not going to lose money. I mean, we're only going to get a reduction. We only move forward if we know they're entitled to a property tax reduction.
Because you can tell them off the bat.
We tell them right away, yes, you're overassessed. If you appeal, you can save $5,000 a year. They then decide to move forward. then they do nothing. We handle the whole process going forward. Our average rate of reduction last year was $4,600 for a residential property owner. So we are really maximizing their savings. That's a lot of money to save every year.
Is there anything, like, how do you tell ahead of time whether or not they're overassessed or not?
So,
is there anything of that process you can...
Yeah, I mean, it varies throughout the country.
Yeah.
But again, we have people in each real estate market. So in Pennsylvania, what we're doing is looking at the actual market value versus the assessed market value, which is that formula with the CLR. If the assessed market value is higher than the market value, then you should appeal.
Right. Okay. Now, when you guys do that, is that something like I could do on my own, or is it better that you guys do it? Do you have a better system than something I could figure out from watching YouTube videos?
I mean, you don't want to watch a YouTube video and do this because it varies in every municipality.
Okay.
My recommendation, I said this before, I will say this on Blue in My Face, do not do it on your own. Do not do it on your own. I can tell you a million reasons why, other than your taxes might go up. A lot of people start the process, they can't figure out how to fill out the form, they get intimidated by the hearing, and then they just bail. So let us handle it for you. It's stress-free. We only get paid if we're successful. Remember that.
Right.
So, and we're very conservative.
So since you don't have any nightmare stories because
I do not,
you're
I'm
always
sorry.
successful,
Yeah.
what would you say, just generally off the top of your head, nothing specific, what's some of like the coolest stories that you've seen personally?
Every time I get a reduction from my client.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a real estate attorney, like I said, for almost 20 years. These are the happiest clients I've ever had. That's why realtors love to work with us, because you're making your clients happy and they're going to send other clients to you. I mean, especially in this economy, who doesn't want to save money?
Yeah.
It's going to lower your mortgage payment if you're escrowing. It puts more money in your pocket.
Well, I'm a fan of less taxes in any economy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, true. I think most people are.
But now it's when you need it.
Yeah, and I think most people think it's too good to be true. It really is not. There's no risk in contacting us and having us review the property. It's in your best interest, actually.
All right, cool. So what's the best way for people to get a hold of you guys or get this process started?
So there's many ways. They can go on our website, www.incentertaxsolutions.com. It's a simple form. You just need your address, your name, your contact information. Submit, we'll review it and get back to you within a day or two. It's very quick.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll make sure to put a link below too.
Yeah, and you can give them my email address as well, which you have.
Okay, great. Yeah, what's your email address?
It's Alison with one L .Tulio at incenterms.com.
Awesome, cool. Well, thanks a lot. I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks, Sean.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Chester County Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by RE/MAX Ace Realty, serving buyers and sellers in the Chester County area. Subscribe for new episodes at acerealtypa.com/podcast. And you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever podcasts are found.